to the Working Fans Podcast.
All right, everybody. It's the man they call Dave. We're here with the Working Fans Podcast. And today we got a special guest, a young lady who's been a manager, a pro wrestler, a model. Her name is Paislee, and today she's going to teach us why Paislee knows best. Paislee, how are you today?
I am doing fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you. It's a pleasure to get you on here and talk to you. And we like to start at the beginning usually. I like to ask, were you a fan of wrestling growing up, or did you kind of fall into this? How did this happen?
So I wasn't a fan when I was growing up. I actually didn't really know much about it. It wasn't until I had kids when they got really into it, and I decided one night, I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to buy tickets. We're going to go to a show. And that's kind of when I got into it. I was like, we went there, and I said, you know what? This is something I can do. Kind of caught the ear of the right person, I guess, and it kind of just happened from there.
So timing, a lot of times, as we find out in life, is helpful.
Yes.
So you got the ear of the right person. Did that tell you where to train? Like, so where did you end up training, and how did that come about?
I was talking, when I was there, I had caught the ear of one of the guys who was working security. He actually had his own academy. So he had me go out and start with them. And he was just like, hey, why don't you come out on Sunday? And let's see, if you can do anything, what you've got. And then, I mean, it just kind of, I just went and decided, I was like, yeah, let's do it. And yeah.
That's awesome. Now, have there been some other people along the way that have helped you out on this journey? Like, whether personal or people in the wrestling business?
As far as helping me out, honestly, everybody that I have talked to, even if it was just a short little, Instagram message, or if it's actually people that I'm training with, everybody's helped me in some way or another. Right now, I currently train under former Impact wrestler Hang Time, so he's a huge help, obviously, teaching me all my in-ring training. And then I have a lot of people who I do train with or I do shows with. Everybody is just so nice and willing to help me in any way they can. So I've gotten help from all over the place from so many people.
Well, that's awesome. That's good to hear. That's not the journey everybody takes, but it sounds like you've had a lot of positive people around you, so that's good.
Yeah, I try to keep my ear open. That's the best way, is just to kind of be a sponge and take everything in, whether it's good or bad. Everybody has their own way of doing things. And it's just great to listen to what everybody has to say, and then just, listen, ask questions, and just kind of go from there.
Yeah, I think, too, just to have thick skin is very helpful, too. Understand that sometimes people are trying to help you, right? Yeah. So another thing I want to ask you, too, is, what have been some of the harder aspects about the wrestling game? Whether it's physical, travel, promos, what have been some of the tougher challenges for you think?
Getting into promos is hard, but a lot of it, too, is when you're actually in the show, you have to be able to read the crowd and to kind of all the psychology behind it. You have to know where the where the hard camera is. You have to know, okay, these people are really into it, so feed off of them. And, maybe go over to this side more. And you just have to really, for me, pay attention to every little thing that's going on. Yeah, so I would say that's probably the most challenging part, is just being hyper aware of everything going on.
Right. The timing of when to do it. Well, you know what to do, but almost when to do it, right?
Exactly, because you have to make sure that it looks good, from all different angles. Because if you look at it, there is somebody on every side of the ring, and you have to make sure if I'm doing something on one side that it's still going to look good on another side too, so everybody's getting the best possible show. That's
very good. Now, I saw you're a model too. Are there any other interests you're working on currently?
Not currently. I'm just kind of learning as much as I can about everything, working as hard as I can, but wrestling right now is huge. Learning how to do the managing, learning how to do promos. That's really, really what I'm focusing on right now.
Do you have a preference, whether it's wrestling in the ring or being a manager?
I actually really like being a manager. I really, really do like it. I think I love working and wrestling too, but it's a whole different dynamic being a manager. You really get to be right up there with the crowd the whole time, but you also get to be, right by ringside too, and kind of almost in both worlds. And then you do kind of get in the ring too, not necessarily wrestling, but you can get in the ring to, talk or, maybe distract the ref, stuff like that. So you kind of get the best of both worlds.
When you're a manager, just curious, do you feel like you're more part of like almost like a team because you're trying to get the other wrestlers over and the match over too?
Oh, yeah, I definitely do. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. No, I can see that, and that's that's a fun thing. I think me personally, like I've always enjoyed that camaraderie almost and trying to help other people, like that team sport mentality. So I guess.
Yes. We either win as a team or lose as a team.
Yeah, that's right. You have a T-shirt at Pro Wrestling Tees. Did you design that, or how did you come about that?
So, yeah, okay. So some of the T-shirts I did design myself, which is kind of awesome. Other T-shirts, my fans actually designed for me. I kind of do little contests or competitions where people will submit different ideas that they have, and they come up with all these different designs, and then we'll choose one of those, me and my team. And so it's really nice because I feel like I get to get them involved too. So my fans are always getting involved doing something, and that's a really great way for me to show them, that I do appreciate them. So I do some and my fans do some.
Yeah, that's great. And I mean, now that also too, the fans are now getting a personally vested interest in something too. So I think that's super. Like you're really getting everybody involved there. That's awesome.
I'm trying.
It's good. It's very like almost grassroots kind of campaigning. I like it. What about goals? Like, do you have a goal you see yourself, or you want to see yourself in the next year, or anything in particular?
So within the next year, I do want to be wrestling more. I want to be learning, I want to take as much time as I can to learn the business as well as I can and start implementing that inside the ring also. So really within the next year, I just want to focus on my training, getting stronger, learning a lot more of the psychology of it, and just really learning all the different things that are going to help me succeed. So maybe one day I do get to go to one of the big agencies.
Awesome. One thing I've noticed I think you're really good at is promotion. Is there any like particular mindset when it comes to promoting?
Yeah, no, you just gotta be in touch with everybody. And a lot of what I do is I do talk to, if you reach out and send me a message, I am going to message you back. It might take me a little while, but that's one thing that I really strive for, because I want people to know me like personally too. So the more you do that, the more people are going to interact with you, and the more they're going to, tell their friends, hey, why don't you go check out Paislee? Or to the little 10-year-old who is, so into wrestling, and oh my gosh, Paislee sent them a message, even if it's just, hey, thanks for following me, or, if somebody needs a tip on what, to do to get stronger, to work out. I even had, when school was still in session, I had a young lady reach out to me and ask me which prom dress she thought, or wanted me to pick for her, essentially. So it's great.
That's awesome, man. That must be kind of a mind blow a little bit, like when that happens.
It went from 0 to 100 so fast, and I love every second of it.
How did you come up with Paislee Knows Best? Like, who was involved in that process, and how did that work?
That was just kind of my kids, actually. Okay. They kind of came up with it. It's kind of one of those mom knows everything type thing. And the 13-year-old looked at me one day and was just like, what about Paislee Knows Best? That sounds great. And I was like, yeah, I like that. Let's go with it. Let's run with it.
That's awesome. Tell people where they can find you and anything else you might want to promote right now.
Awesome. So you can find me on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, at Paislee Knows Best. I keep up with all my fans and everybody there. And it has all my information for where you can contact me, who you can talk to. I have lots of stuff in the works right now. So just keep up with my pages, give me a like, give me a follow, and you'll be able to be involved in Paislee's life.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll make sure we'll tweet all that stuff out too when this interview comes out. Thank you for your time. And that was awesome. Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. No, I really enjoyed having you on. You're a great personality, very charming, and I think that's going to come across. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, so that wraps us up for this week. Thank you again for listening to the Working Fans Podcast. So as always, you can find us on Twitter at FansWorking. Our Facebook page is Working Fans Wrestling Pod. We have email where you can reach out to us and let us know what you think also. That's workingfanswrestlingpod@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram, workingfanswrestling_pod. And then as always, please continue to listen to us on Anchor.fm, Google Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, all your major platforms. If you're following us on Apple Podcasts, which we are also on now, and YouTube, please make sure you subscribe and give us a 5-star rating. It helps us bring you these podcasts where we get to talk to you and talk with you every week.